What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Sanochi and welcome back to another TOS videos. And today I am going to cover the developer note for August 19, 2020. This is actually the July edition where I am to respond to some of the suggestions and as well as some of the messages from the Korean community. Now, first thing first, I do want to shout out to the Mikumos and Krevak for doing such an amazing job to keep the community updated about the Korean site. Now, Mikumo does post the original link while Kevak does its translation. The original links actually go directly to the official Korean site, so if you speak Korean, you might want to consider clicking on this link instead. It provides more information related than what Kevak is doing. Kevak is actually breaking down very specific important information about this patch, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. Now, the first one is actually the new party system proposal. This suggestion has a lot of detail come with the players who want IMC to introduce a new party system with a recurring UI and ability to fill in the slot with players' roles. Now, for IMC respond, IMC said that they want players to be more social interact between the user, and this is quite important for MMORPG, so that make feel that there's a communication between the games and making the game feel more alive. However, they do agree that shouting is the only way to do it at the moment, and it's quite very inconvenient, so they want to improve this and add some kind of party UI list system, and they cannot give a time frame at the moment due to the current planned roadmap. I have to agree with the IMC here, because as a player, I actually have to spend at least 1 or 2 megaphones on the word chat right now just to find a party. I personally do link a party for myself, but the party will fill up really quick, so I don't see this as a problem, but maybe some changes would be really nice. The next one is actually adding a limit to the bad lucks and help relieve bad luck streak. Whoever suggests this, thank you so much. Player want a system that add a limit to how unlucky they can be with the drops, Anchor, etc. and Vivora. Now, I can understand the frustration with this because I ran over 200 and 300 challenge modes for episode 12 and I still haven't got a single Vivora. That's how frustrated it is. And add more a consistent progression system. And for IMC Respond, they telling people that they did add some kind of major changes to the English transmission. They did add some kind of change with the anchor by adding an English transmutation. This is really nice because you don't have to do with RNG, and instead you have to add an extra equipment of the same identical equipment, so they'll be able to extract it directly without having to waste a lot of resources. However, because it used to cost 3 million, now it goes down to 100k, which is super nice. Another thing is, back in the day, we have to use 3 types of the identical equipments, but now we only need 2, so that's a major huge right there. Now, there are 2 types of equipment that drop in the game, such as the random chance drop, Vivora, Hearthstone, etc. I really hate Vivora for some reason, but I still have to spend my silver on it. Hearthstone is another one. Hearthstone RNG is just really bad in my opinion. And then the other one is definitely drops, such as the Scale Field Feathers, Glacial Hearts, Singularity, Challenge Mode Split Singularity to Reward. Like at the I don't know I forgot which one is it, but I believe some of the rewards really good. But yeah, so basically the guarantee drops when you kill the boss. They realize that players are mostly upset about the art stones, which required for art and Caroline's accessory. For the players who doesn't know what is a Caroline accessory, they are the hard mode version Morning Pony accessory, which is really good, by the way. They believe that the gap in power between the original art and the old accessory Draconos and Morning Pony is and go directly to Caroline is what causing the player to be more upset about bad luck. The power and the progressions and the power tool between the gaps is just huge. When you get the Caroline equipment, you're pretty much a god in this game, basically. They feel that this is psychological problems caused by the balance on the items and the drop rate set for by the development team. I have to agree with this because the development team is actually the one who is in charge setting the drop rate. So if they kind of boost the drop rate, we might have more chance to get this, but that would inflate the price of the market as well. No matter how low the drop rate and some of the item may be, if the player didn't feel that they were essential to the progression, then they will skip it. This is another problem with Velcopper, because episode 11 quests actually give you a perfect transcending 10 plus 11's full Savidos equipment and the weapon as well. So since Velcopper is not essential anymore, people can just skip it and go straight for episode 11 quest box, and then they could continue with Bonner. Or if they feel we're making step in between on the ways to the end goal, they would be as upset as being lucky, which is true. Alright, so as for the last message, they are preparing for more structures, staircase progression system, which is really nice by the way. That will make this situation not as bad as both psychologically and economically, and plan to provide update in the near future. I assume in the near future that will be this year. This is just my speculations. I hope it could be this year or could be at the end of years. That would be really nice. Alright. The third one is stop adding connection time events. IMC want the players want IMC to stop adding events that require players to stay online for a long period of time for a variety of important real-life reasons outside the game, such as if you go to work, you cannot get online game, or maybe if you go to work, you can also leave the game open. But if you don't have really good computer, you cannot leave the game open 24/7 or all the time. As for their response, IMC said that event reward time frames and event durations and other details are considered when they make these events. They are going to keep doing in mind they are going to keep it in mind that there are different type of players who enjoy Tree of Savior and how much they time to spend on the game. Pretty much is that there are free to play players who are willing to spend their time to play the game, and then there are players who are willing to spend money and try to progress even faster. So it's really depend on the players, not really the system, is what I'm trying to say. Whether they will be getting coins from actually doing content or just AFK, they want everyone to be able to get a reward in the fair way. They do realize that several Savior are complaining about fatigue from the number of times they use the connection time events and how long they ask players to be connected. So they want to focus on giving more benefit to the Savior for playing the content while keeping in mind that how long the content can take, and focus less on meaningless connection time go. So they actually did this with the legend rates, Earth Towers, Velcoppers, Vana, Moriponia, and Glaciers. They reduced the Earth Tower from 5 all the way to 1 and kind of put every reward into a single run. That also applies for Velcopper as well. But for Vana and more important, they add additional reward, but also reducing the number of entry from 5 all the way to 3. So I did cover this in my other videos. So if you're interested, the link to that video will be available in the description below. They also said they will try to improve the way they plan and operate the events within the games. I just hope that we don't see any more like staying online event, because that's take a lot of time, to be honest. Next one, we have buff the level 440 legend set bonuses. Now a lot of players are very upset about the new level 440 legend set bonuses compared to the level 400 set bonus. We all know that Sluggish and attack set effect is so good right now. There's no point of switching to another set unless the new set will have to be much better. So I's response is that they acknowledge that level 440 set bonuses are intentionally weaker than 400. Intentionally, yes, that's right. They intentionally make the level 440 set much weaker than 400, but the level 440 equipment Savinos, the Disney Savinos Glacier main status, are much higher, along with the more power grant when used in a certain content. So for example, if you're already seeing the new set bonuses, they actually provide more damage against channels, field boss, and the weaker raid boss. So some of those are really good. For channel mode, you actually get extra damage and lead chain and reduce damage taken from the channel mode, which is really nice. Now additionally, if you use the equipment in their respective contents, it is certainly advantageous and stronger regardless if the level 440 set bonus is weaker, which is true, because if you're doing CM, you might want to consider doing CM. However, they want to ensure that the level 440 equipment is always better and will manage the power gaps, and to ensure that level 400 equipment is not going to be worse than level 440 equipment as a result of this legend set bonus differences. Here's my thought on this one, because this is very important, by the way. Right now, for the players, the new return players, you're definitely going forward with the episode 11 quest reward box to get the legendary Savinos equipment. For all the current veterans and endgame players, you already finished Vana, that's good. But for mid-game player, you eventually will transition from Savinos to Vana, and when this new equipment came out, you have to make decisions whether you want to get the new legend equipment or you want to stick into the 5 pieces for attack set bonus, 4 armor pieces, and secondary weapons along with the main weapon. Excuse me, just the secondary weapon. And then for the main weapon, you can just switch over to the main one, like getting the new legend equipment. So the new legend equipment will provide you better damage, and then you can just stick with the old set effect. Now, Level 440 equipment has buff and set bonus that are various in a very specific content, as I mentioned before, and they purpose made it so the armor is changed for a content specific bonus, so they can use the same weapon for all content. This way you don't have to invest a lot into switching armor, into switching gears, because all you need to do is keep the weapon and just switch armor. Regardless of these specific bonuses, they don't want level 400 equipment to be better than 440, even if you're not using the content is provided benefit. The development team agree that there is a sudden increase in burden for in-game time investment needed for the new equipment compared to the old equipment, which I have to agree, because eventually all the mid-game player will have to switch from Savinos into Fauna, and when the new legend came out, they eventually have to decide whether they want the new legend or they don't want the new legend. They decided to do temporary events with discount to get a set bonus easier as a result, which is really nice because we actually do have a double reward for a unique raid. That's really good. And then we actually have a burning weekend where it's reduces cost of transcendence and then unveiling by 50%, and that's even better. So in the future, if they plan to add a new set bonuses for the equipment that already exists, they will also do discount for that as well. So all the players right now, they don't have to feel that the time, the investment that they're putting into the equipment will not go waste, basically. All right, so they also plan to add the solo version of the Legend White Witch Forest, which is really nice, by the way, because the K10 and K2S already have the casual Mooring Pony and Hard mode versions. I believe that's what it is. And then with that, they'll probably be planning to add one of those in the future, as long as they are bringing more content. All right, so for the next one, excuse me, provide a better explanation on the class nerf. This is very important because we don't know why some certain class got nerfed. One of the biggest example would be the I'm trying to find a good class here. Oh yeah, so one of the biggest example would be Drool. Drool transformation give a lot of crit rate, and it was good. People can run Drool and can run any filter classes and make the build work. So basically, clerics have very optimized DPS. It doesn't matter which class you build, you will always have DPS. But then they kind of nerf it and compensate it with the different kind of buff, getting that extra physical and magic defense, as well as getting the extra 100% final damage for the grass, which is really nice. But in my opinion, that's a huge nerf. They still have critical rate, but it's not as big as the other one. So this suggestion comes from the player who is upset that they nerfed the knife throwing and want better explanations. Excuse me, and they want a better explanations on reasoning for the class nerf. I'm not a scout man, but this is very interesting. IMC response is that they apologize for not providing a better notification for this change, and that came with the 7.23 update, where they changed the requirement on the damage benefit from the bullseye to hit enemy with the dagger rather than with peer attack. They did not intend to nerf the bullseye, but rather nerf the knife throwing art when it comes to rebalance, because they want the basic throwing knife without the art to be more effective, and not only the art will be better in most situations or all situations. So basically, let's put the Exorcist example. Exorcist class has a skill called Rubik. You can switch over to Dart Rubik. That is an art. It's reduced monster damage by 50%. However, it should not be optimized or should be used all the time, because Rubik also has a holy version, which is the normal skill. It does more damage against Dart monster and bosses, but it deals less damage against Dart holy monster. So it does also apply for Dart as well. You don't want to use Dart against Dart monster. Now, the bullseye activate conditions was changed to all dagger skills, so that knife throwing can be used more universals, and all dagger class can be used of it. However, class like Shinobi and Outlaw cannot meet this new condition in our circumstances on their skills, because as a result, it's So this result in a significant inconsistent with their goal. In the August 6th update, they make a Shinobi skill that have better synergy with it, but it also modified the condition to simply wearing a dagger, so it benefit dagger class in most situations. So that's really nice. The development teams will strive to do better about informing the information to everybody else, as well as doing their best to not repeat the same mistake in the future. So the last one is really good because we want a better explanation. Communication is the key here. If you don't have good communications, it might be difficult between the community as well as the development team. Also, it looks like a lot of players are getting involved with this topic because this is very important. Not only impact the global community, the Western like players like myself, as well as the Korean community as well. So this is very interesting. Wait a minute, is the foil okay? Not just have the art to be better in all situations. Look at Judgment and Palm Strike art. Oh gosh. Anyway, that's pretty much for this video. I hope this video will provide you guys some insight and information related to these developer Nerfs, and hopefully I'll try to my best to provide more information in the future. This is Strategy once again, and I will see you in the next videos. Later.